Hello and good morning. Welcome to the March Madness MCU Special Edition. My name is Star Johnson and I'm one of the national trainers here. Thank you all for joining and welcome. So as you guys know, we have been doing our special March Madness series and we are now at week 4. So today is the 29th of March and today's presentation is all about Skip the Bagel presentation. So we're going to take a look at how to produce this particular presentation, how it works, how you can use it and implement it within your line of business. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we begin today, I just want to make sure that everyone can see and hear me clearly. To the right of your screen, you will locate a webinar control panel. This control panel will be the way that you and I communicate throughout today's presentation. So if you have any questions, comments, feedback, and or concern, please pose those questions right there in the webinar. And it looks like David is spot on. He has typed some information in there, so I know you guys can hear me, and we are good to go. So today's presentation, again, is all about Skip the Bagel. So I want to show you a particular presentation that you can use as a marketing piece. You can always do the Skip the Bagel presentation as an individual, but as a marketing piece, you can show your new millennials, home buyers, the way that they have an opportunity to take a little bit of savings and reinvest that back into the principal. So you can show those benefits on the mobile. I've introduced the mobile right here on the screen. So behind the mobile, you can see a browser view. So if you decided to email that particular presentation to your customers can review that on their computer. And if you took the opportunity to review that particular item with your customers, they can also review that on their cell phone as well. And they can see the same options on their cell phone, just like they would on the browser. So depending on your audience, you can definitely meet them on their platform and always provide real-time updates with your customers. So I want to know, for those who are on the call, there's a lot of people who are on the call today. I'm going to move the cell phone right out of the way, but there's a lot of people on the call today. I want to know from those learners, how many of you have currently used the Skip the Bagel presentation? Anyone on the call? And let me know right there in the webinar. One thing I want to show you is on our website, under member services in the connect area, total cost analysis, there are a number of strategies that you can show your customers on their device. There's a number of strategies that you can produce. So Skip the Bagel is one strategy, but we have a multitude of strategies as shown here on the screen. So David says no. So what I would like to do is show you guys how to build this particular presentation. So if you're following along with me and you want to do a presentation, a Skip the Bagel presentation, and walk through it side by side with me, please feel free to do so. If you're working on one monitor at this time, you can minimize the GoToMeeting window. And at this time, you can open up a blank browser, type in the web address edge.mortgagecoach.com. This is a way that you can access the Mortgage Coach software system. You can add this website to your favorites and or your bookmarks. You'll enter in your email and password to log in. Once the system properly authenticates you, the system will take you to your dashboard that looks just like this. Let's see, where are these? Let's see, give me 1 second. So the choices of presentation. So the different presentations that you can do, the different strategies, is that what you're referring to, David? On our website, if you were to open a browser, which is mortgagecoach.com, next to member services is connect. Under total cost analysis, there's an option where you can review all the strategies that you can do and share to educate your customers. So that's how you can access and you can download the strategy guide. Perfect. So again, Open up a blank browser, type in that address, edge.mortgagecoach.com, enter in your email and password, takes you right to your database, which is your home screen. So what I've done is a presentation. So I want to create a presentation, but again, you can present a individual Skip the Bagel presentation for your customers as well. So what I'm going to do, what you'll need to do is select new client. This in the new client area or clients, this is where you will create your total cost analysis presentations, purchase, refinance, different strategies, skip the bagel, points, no points, all in the client area. Now, as soon as you tap on new client, you'll see there's two options. There's individual and there's marketing. So when you click on individual, you have to put in some tailored information about the customer. First name, last name if you have it. Now, just to bring to your attention, Mortgage Coach, the system is very intelligent. We only ask you the information that's needed to produce a valid total cost analysis presentation. So you only, in essence, need to complete the red highlighted areas. But I'm going to flip the radio dial to marketing. I want to do a marketing presentation that's not borrower specific. So here, instead of a borrower's name, all you need is a report headline. So what is the headline of your report? So if you're following along, I want you to stay here. I'm going to go back to my home area because I've started one earlier. So I want to walk you through. So I went to new client, hit marketing to do a marketing piece. Now I want to do a skip the bagel presentation. And yes, we are going to do a total cost analysis presentation. So I name my report headline, Skip the Bagel. I want to review a total cost analysis presentation. So I'm going to leave the radio dial on. If you have a client or you're trying to tap into prospects, you can definitely change that, whichever is appropriate in your scenario. If you're doing a marketing piece and you want a partner to be informed and alerted every time you send out that particular dynamic link when it's reviewed, not only are you alerted through all your devices, which are the Mortgage Coach mobile app. If you have the Mortgage Coach mobile app downloaded on your phone, you'll be alerted in your mobile app. Also in Rate Watch, if you have Rate Watch downloaded on your mobile device, it is your notification tool. Not only are you notified about the rates and what's going on in the market for the trending, but you also are alerted when your presentations are reviewed as well. On the other hand, when it comes to your partner is only notified via email. So if you want that partner notified, you can click in their email address, and that's it. Now, a friendly name, we've always stressed, make sure that you always add a friendly name whenever you're doing your presentation. That is tailored when you're doing an individual piece. But because this is a marketing piece, the only sufficient area here is just the report headline. So to give you guys an example, we've always talked about the clip notes in the yellow area. These are clip notes just for you. Your customers cannot see these clip notes. So if you need to put some internal jargon for yourself to help you as you are moving forward and creating your presentation, you can add that information right here in your clip note area. So today's presentation is how to create a skip to bagel presentation. And I want to show my customers if they were to skip a bagel, coffee, or any sweet treats that they can part ways from. So if every day when you're on your way to work or yoga class and you're always buying a $5 latte, boba tea, whatever works best for you, if you look at that over 30 days, that's approximately $150. So what can you do? Sometimes we don't know where we can save money or pull money from to save, but the Skip the Bagel presentation opens the eyes of the customer to say, hey, if I can maybe part ways with some of this and reinvest this money into my principal, I can get out of mortgage debt even sooner. So that's the whole purpose of the Skip the Bagel presentation. So just wanted to put some color out there for you guys. So let's begin. So now what we can do is we can advance forward by arrowing to the right, or you'll see the ribbons below, which are the chevrons, we can jump ahead. So now that I have all the required information under the client tab, I want to move forward to the goals. Now, the presentation I'm trying to produce today is a purchase. So purchase a new home. So I'm going to check that goal. I'm going to advance forward and I need to insert the purchase price. So in my particular scenario, the purchase price is $265. Now you are going to come to the affordability. So if you had a customer, this is a marketing piece, so keep in mind I don't have a customer. But if I had a customer looking at the ribbons below, I'm going through my normal workflow. Who's my client? What's the goal? The assumptions? What's the listing price? And the affordability. What can the customer afford? So the affordability tab is more of an emotional tab. So if you want to see some additional drivers or paint a deeper financial picture for your customer, you can complete the first top half for as the current gross income, the non-mortgage debt expenditures, and how much the customer is paying on a monthly basis. Completing this area here will show you the front and back end ratios, the DTI information. If you wanted to provide your customer with more of a tax benefit, so you want to show your customers buying a home and being a homeowner, tapping into home ownership, you can write off a portion of the principal and interest. So if you want to show a tax benefit, you would have to enter in the tax bracket information. If you as a lending professional do not know the tax bracket your customer is in, you can select Find Tax Bracket. We will route you to a quick link, and all you need is a few pieces of information. The tax year, the filing status, and the annual gross salary. So now let's advance forward. We can advance forward or we can jump ahead to products. So I'm going to jump over to products. So the product that I want to compare, my first product, where does the DTI show? So once you complete affordability and you move to your products, you will see a line here, the DTI. There you go, Will. So here is the product. So I'm going to name my product. Make sure when you are creating your products, it's free form, that you keep your characters within 12 limits or less. So in case you want to print out your presentation, you want to make sure it stays within the margin. Now here, is it a refinance? No, based on the goal we select as a purchase. I can pull from a product template that I've created prior in my settings area and pull down all my loan parameters, but I'm going to insert this information manually so I can show you how it's done. So the purchase price filtered from the assumptions tab. Now the down payment is required, so I need to insert what the down payment is. I can either tap on my calculator and figure out what my down payment is. In my scenario, it's 20% down. Or I can let the system do its work. So I'm going to tap on the percent sign, disclose 20%, tab out, and the system tells me what the down payment requirement is along with the new base loan amount. Now the interest rate, please keep in mind I am not in a live production environment like you find individuals, so I'm just going to put a rate to solidify what we're trying to do today. So let's just say the rate is 3.375. The term in my product name, I mentioned 30 years, so I have to relate that in months. So 360 months for the term. And then the loan type. My loan type is a fixed. But if you were doing any other type of scenario, you would need to select the appropriate drop down. If you're doing a 5-1 ARM, 7-1 ARM, and etc. Now that I have all the required information in the red highlighted areas, I can advance forward. And this is where I would implement my closing cost details. So as a lending professional, you have the ability to group your APR and group your non-APR and so forth. But when you do a grouping and you bulk your fees, your customers will not have the ability to drill down behind those closing cost details, and you do not appear to be transparent. So let me show you what I mean. If I look at my final presentation here, my customer has the ability to go behind the summary area to get more details. So if my customer selects or my prospect selects more info, there is a closing cost tab. And the closing costs tab here, there's a fee detail button. If I group my fees, there will be no fee there will be no fee detail button here on the browser, and there will be no fee detail button on the mobile as well. So if I scroll up on my mobile, the customer also had the ability to tap into those closing cost fees right there on the mobile with the fee detail button right there at the bottom. So I wanted to draw your attention to that. Okay, so let me go ahead and close out of this and continue on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from my fee templates, or I could use my fee worksheet and add those fees in manually. So to do that and start itemizing, you want to select closing cost details, this button here. And at the top, if you had templates you were pulling from, some organizations already have your templates built in. You can pull from those fee templates, or if you're working off a fee sheet, you can select add fee, and you can start adding your fee manually. There's a drop-down list with a wealth of fees that will align with your fee worksheet. But I'm going to pull from my fee templates here. I'm going to look for a conventional purchase. And here are all my fees from my fee template. I'm just going to review those. And once they are sufficient, I can select the Apply to Loan button to add those fees. Now in that blank area here, you can see that my APR costs and non-APR costs have been vetted out. If there's any prepaid days of interest, you can add those days. Let's just say there's 15 days. If there's any applicable earnest money, you can add that information. But I'm doing a marketing piece and I don't have a customer, nor do we have escrow open just yet. So now that I'm done here, I can advance forward by arrowing to the right. And then here is my monthly cost. So when you're doing your first product, the scenario that you want to show your customer is if you purchase your home today and you do business as usual, every day you get a coffee, so $150 every month, plus you're paying your mortgage. So I want to show my customer on my second product, if you take that $150 and divert it into another area. So for scenario one, you're paying your normal mortgage and you still have that $150 that you're paying every day for your sweet treats. So I want to add that so my customer can see where that money is also being applied to the mortgage. So you have your mortgage plus your sweet treats. So if you add that up together, this is what you'll be paying on a monthly basis. In essence, you're still going to pay that in a monthly basis on the second product, but instead of paying that to the coffee house, you're paying that to your principal. So we'll show you that in product number 2. So let me go ahead and add in the hazard insurance. So you can add in the hazard insurance here if you have a declaration page or evidence of insurance. But what I like to do is use a factor. Every state, county is different. But I like to use a factor of 0.35, let's just say for California. And the reason why I like to use a factor is because this factor is driven off the purchase price. So throughout your purchase transaction scenario, it can be 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. And in that interim, the purchase price can change. So today it's $265. Next week it could be $300, $315 throughout the duration until it closes. If you use a factor, the system will automatically update what the hazard insurance should be every time you update the purchase price. But if you use a whole dollar amount, you as the end user will have to come in here and change the actual amount. So I like to use a factor so the system can automatically do it for me so I don't have to think about it. And then for property taxes, I'm going to use 1.25 as the factor for California. The customer is currently paying $150 each and every month for that coffee or that sweet treat. Because it is a purchase, I'm going to collect 4 hazards. So I want to do 2 months for hazard with a 12-month premium, along with 4 months for property taxes. Now, when you're building your presentations, you can definitely save these as a template. So if you want to save this as a product template and use it for a future client, you can definitely do that. So you can save as a product template. You can name it, select OK, and now you'll have a product template saved in your drop down when you're creating your products. So let's advance forward. And now I want to move to product 2. Let me go back for 1 second. So if you're following along with me, underneath the Save as a Template, there will be a green button here on your end. It will say Add Another Product. So just as a caveat for you guys, when you are building in Mortgage Coach and leveraging our system, you have the ability to build up to 4 presentations, 4 comparables side by side. So 4 products. We've only created our first one. So I'm going to advance forward and move to product number 2. So product number 2, I want to show my customers how to take that $150 and reinvest it into the principal. So I have that as my product name. And here I can, if I wanted to, I could pull from my product templates in my drop down and put in loan parameter information. But what I want to do is leverage from my copy from feature, because product 2 is going to mirror product 1 with just a little few changes. So I'm going to select here, copy from that first product, select OK, and you can see a lot of the details carry over from that first product. So my purchase price is there, my down payment will be the same, the rate will still be the same at 3.375, the term is still a 360-month term, and it is a fixed product. So I'm not going to do any editing here. We're going to advance forward. My closing cost also copies for me nicely as well. If I needed to do any updates or editing, I would need to access the closing cost detail tab once more to do those edits. But everything carried over nicely for me. I'm going to advance forward. And then here is my monthly cost. So I'm going to still use the same factors here of 0.35 for hazard, 1.25 for property taxes, but I want to show the customer to reinvest that $150. So I'm going to remove the $150 that they would be paying on product 1, paying your mortgage business as usual and going every single day to the coffee house and paying that $150. That's in product 1. But product 2 is only to pay your mortgage, and that $150 apply it as an extra payment to principal. So we're going to X out the coffee house. So I'm going to have that at 0 now. I'm going to still collect for reserves, 2 months for hazard, 12 months for property taxes. 2 months for hazard reserves with a 12-month premium and 4 months for property taxes. So in essence, we've only created 2 products here. So what I want to do now is I want to advance forward. I'm not going to add product 3 or product 4. So now I move to my analysis summary. So the analysis summary is very important. So you as a lending professional can determine what would the property appreciate buying a home in X region, X area. It would appreciate at X factor. The short-term analysis is defaulted to 60 months because it mimics the CD, the closing disclosure, and the LE, the loan estimate. Now, the long term is 15 years, but if you feel that they say that the natural average of Americans stay in their home from 7 to 10 years. So if you feel that your customer base will sell in 10 years or they'll be there for 30 years, you can always move this needle here. You can always move this needle, and when you move the needle here on any area, you would see those adjustments. So I'm just going to move it back to 15. And then here's your long-term analysis. So your long-term analysis here at this point, you can show the interest in MI paid, but in this case, there is no MI. They put 20% down. We're trying to hit those 20% down base customers. You can show total net worth by clicking the radio dial, or you can show total principal paid. So whatever option you're trying to solidify to your customers, please make sure that you update your long-term analysis. We can advance forward, and this is the contact. So when you're doing your normal presentations, your normal total cost analysis presentations for your customers, this will be your customer's contact information. So the property address is shown on the final presentations when you're doing personal, but the mailing address is not shown, only the property address. But you can see here there's no red indicator, so this is another screen, just like affordability, that you can bypass. So if we move forward, we can select the presentation we want to see, which is total cost analysis. And here's our two products that we've created. Taxes and insurance are included in the payment. Here's that $150 savings. You can see the short term, long term with sidebar text. And this is where you would select if you wanted your partner to be notified. So if you put your partner's email here, you have the option to notify your partner, but always make sure this box is checked for you. Notify me, the lending professional, every time the report is reviewed. And let's preview really quickly before we move back into the wizard, where I want to show you how to implement that cost savings. So right now you can see your customer, the actual payment is only $12.90.57. Well, why is it $14.40.57? If you select more info, you can see the breakdown of the payment. Here is the P&I across the board, the taxes, the insurance. But remember, we're including that $150. So if you are paying your mortgage normally, it is $12.90.57. But let's add in those sweet treats of $150. But now you want to take the opportunity to show the customer how they can get out of mortgage debt sooner. So they'll have an additional tab to review, which is the reinvestment strategy. Well, how do you implement the reinvestment strategy? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Well, you can see here the freedom point for both products are 30 years. So if you've done nothing, add it into the principal, you can pay off your loan in 30 years. Well, when you go back into the system, the wizard is what we call it, under the analysis tab, when you click analysis, you'll locate a adjustment reinvestment strategy. This is a matrix. If you click on this option here, you'll see an additional pop-up, which is the matrix. So it talks about product number 1. There is no savings when it comes to reinvesting because we have that $150 shown here under the monthly cost. But if the customer takes that $150 of savings and add it to the principal, so in essence, you're still paying the same monthly payment, but you're allocating that $150 in a different area to save you some money. So the less you pay in interest, you're paying more in principal. So if I add $150 here and tab out, you can see by applying that $150, that small payment that you've been paying for those sweet treats, if you reinvest that in your principal, you can, in essence, pay off your mortgage, not 30 years, but 23.67 years. So if I select OK after I put that $150 in that reduction payment field, we can advance forward to save all of our inputs. I'm going to hover over presentation, preview, select preview. Also, this is where you would generate your link. So in the preview area, you would select generate link. You can copy and paste this link and put it in an email with some verbiage and send it right out to your customer. If you're working on a Windows-based computer, you can hit share, select email, and get that right out to your customer. If this option has not been prohibited from your line of business and you have the option to share Facebook and Twitter, you can do that. But highly suggest you review your policy and procedures when it comes to social media to make sure you're not violating any consumer privacy acts. So maybe not a bar specific piece, but more of a marketing piece. And then next to share is where you would add audio and video. So let's just select add audio and video. You'll see the final presentation will be displayed for us. You can see I've highlighted the payment. And now there's an additional line item, that reduction payment of the $150. So now you can see that that 30-year product has now been changed. The freedom point is 23 years if you elect to make an additional payment of $150. And that's how you, in essence, would do or create the Skip the Bagel presentation. Let's see, I do have a question here. You can also do custom. So it says, can you show a one mortgage payment pay down per year? You can do a custom. So I'll show you how to do a custom in the reinvestment area. And let's say here, this is one. And you can, okay, that's instead of doing it $150 per month. Okay, you can do custom. So we do have reinvestment strategies. I will show you how to access that. But you can do the reinvestment strategy how you like. You can do a reinvestment strategy towards the principal. You can show a reinvestment strategy towards the actual savings account. You can show a reinvestment strategy if the customer elected to open some type of reinvestment portfolio. If the customer was to get a lump sum for a lawsuit, and let's say in the next couple of months they're going to get 50,000 and they want to take 20,000 and apply it to the principal, you can do a one-time installment, or maybe they'll get a bonus every year. Maybe they'll add extra principal every 12 months. So there's different type of strategies that you can customize when it comes to the reinvestment matrix. So I suggest you guys really check that out. But in essence, this is how you would do the Skip the Bagel presentation. I know we're 4 minutes behind the stopping time, so I really want to make sure I can cover as much as I can for you guys. But if I go back into the system here, I want to show you there is a help option. So if you have any questions, there's a help button that routes you right over to our Mortgage Coach Support Center. So if you have any questions, you want to know about how to apply maybe the MI cutoff, there's a way that you can customize your strategy. So definitely check out the reinvestment grids and the video assets that are here for you. I want to point that out for you. And lastly, here is the record message. So when you are ready and you've done all your highlighting, this is where you can record a message on the browser. So definitely make sure that you are educating your customers and you're adding video. I want to go back and talk about Will's point really quickly. So in the analysis area, under the reinvestment, I want to talk about the different areas that you can do an additional cost savings to. So if you wanted to do more of a custom, you can double click and you can show on a monthly payment schedule. So if you double click in those areas, maybe month 1 it's 150, maybe month 2 is 160, or month 3 is 0, month 4 is back to 150. So you can definitely customize your strategy here. So I'll show you guys that once more. In this savings area here, the reduction payment, if you double click, you'll see an option where you can start customizing. So I wanted to point that out to you. So again, I'm going to go back to our final presentation. Let's find it here. I have it up. Our final presentation. I want to pause here is to see if there's any additional questions that you guys have. And I do appreciate you for hanging on with me 6 minutes after our stopping time. But I want to see if there's any additional questions, so I'll pause here. And again, this is under member services is an area for you. So we have our quick start guides. You can locate all the different strategies that we offer that you can share with your customers. This is an area that you can log into the Mortgage Coach system. And you can also obtain our support center. So next to member services is Connect, so our calendar, all the event monthly calendars that we offer to all of our members. You can enroll to different classes just like you've done today. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate all of your time. It is 6 minutes after the stopping time. I am going to pause once more, last call for any additional questions that you may have before I let you all go. Perfect. Again, my name is Star Johnson. I'm one of the national trainers